I paid with my future for my sister's wedding dress. Now I have nowhere to live and I am a nobody. And my family is celebrating it now. Last Friday night, my mom called me out of nowhere. 2 back-to-back calls. Family emergency, I thought. So I answered. She didn't even say hi. Just jumped right into it. Sweetheart, we have some amazing news. Your sister is getting married. I was quiet. To who? To Connor. Isn't that exciting? I sat up. Connor? The guy she broke up with 6 months ago because he wasn't ready for commitment? The guy who once forgot her birthday and sent an Amazon gift card 2 days late? Apparently, he proposed that morning. My mom was giddy. It was so romantic. In front of the lake. He even hired a photographer. And guess what? Sam said yes. I said congrats. Polite. Confused. But it wasn't that strange. My sister Sam is the kind of person who gets engaged like it's a seasonal hobby. She's been proposed to 3 times, accepted twice. The first engagement ended in a bachelorette party fight over cake. Not kidding. But that wasn't the part that threw me. My mom goes, and there's more. We want to do something really special for her. So we're helping cover the wedding. Fully. That's when I felt this weird shift in my gut. Because they aren't rich. My dad's been retired since COVID and my mom's part-time at a local pharmacy. So I asked the obvious question. With what money? There was this pause. A long one. Too long. Well, she finally said your college fund. I thought I misheard. Wait, what? We know you haven't used it yet, she said quickly, like she'd practiced this, and with your work doing so well, we figured you didn't need it. You've got that job at the firm, and you said yourself you're not even sure about going back to school anymore. I went silent. Let me rewind a bit. I'm 24. I took a gap year after high school to work and save. 1 year turned into 3. I started freelancing in graphic design and eventually landed a job at a mid-size marketing firm. It's not dream money, but I'm surviving. Barely. Rent is crushing. Inflation is soul-sucking, and I've been juggling whether to go to college for a business degree or just keep grinding. But one thing I've always counted on was the college fund my grandparents left me. They passed when I was in high school. They had set aside a modest amount, about $40,000 for me, in a trust my parents managed. My mom always said it's there when you're ready. No rush. Until now. Are you saying you used the college fund? I asked. Well, not all of it. But yes, a large portion. Just enough to get the venue deposit and help with her dress. Catering, you know. Things like that. I stood up and walked to the kitchen so my roommate wouldn't hear me flipping out. You didn't ask me. You weren't using it, she said again, like repetition would make it okay. And this is your sister's big day. You know how much she's been through. Sam's been through a lot, sure. Mainly her own bad decisions. But that's beside the point. That money was for me. You're not even in school, she snapped, defensive now. And don't be selfish. She's your sister. I hung up. I didn't text back. I didn't call the next day. I just sat there on the couch, staring at my ceiling, cycling through emotions like flipping stations on a radio I didn't want to listen to. The next morning, my dad texted, "Hey bud, I know you're upset. Let's talk when you're calm." No, there's more. So much more. I wasn't ready for what came next, because on Sunday, Sam called me. When Sam called on Sunday, I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Her voice was bright, too bright. "Hey, big bro?" I stayed quiet. "Oh, come on. Don't be all grumpy. Mom told me you were being weird about the wedding fund thing. Don't be dramatic." She said it like she was talking about someone stealing the last slice of pizza, not thousands of dollars meant for my education. I said, "You knew about the fund?" "Well, duh," she replied, laughing. "They told me about it last month when we started planning." I thought it was super sweet of them. Something in her voice made my stomach tighten. "Wait," I said, "you've been planning this wedding for a month?" "Yeah." "Why?" "Because my mom told me it was a spontaneous proposal, like it happened 2 days ago. A lakeside surprise. Hired photographer. The whole fairy tale bit." She kept talking, but I wasn't listening anymore. I was rewinding everything. A full month of planning? Why lie? That night, I sat down and started connecting dots. Because here's something I haven't told you yet. 2 weeks ago, I noticed a weird withdrawal on my bank statement. $300 missing from the joint emergency account my parents made me open years ago for family stuff. I kept it open out of respect, never used it. Suddenly, it was active again. I called the bank. Turns out the withdrawal came from a check signed by my mom. I didn't confront her then, thought maybe it was an accident. Now I knew better. They were testing the waters. The next morning, I logged into the fund's online portal. I still had the login saved from when I checked it back in January. Balance, $2,763. It used to be over $39,000. I felt like the air got knocked out of me. That wasn't a venue deposit. That was the entire wedding. And the thing that hit the hardest? I knew if I hadn't checked, they would have never told me. I went on autopilot that whole day. Skipped lunch. Ignored texts. Around 9 p.m., I got a message from my cousin Tyler. "Yo, heard about the wedding. Congrats to Sam. But is it true she's marrying Ryan?" My stomach dropped. "Ryan? My roommate Ryan? No way. This couldn't be. I mean, didn't you two used to be close? Close? We were best friends for 10 years. I texted my roommate Orion and asked when he'd be back. He said he was staying at his girlfriend's for the week, then added, "Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about something." I didn't respond. Instead, I called Tyler and asked him to explain. Turns out Sam had posted a soft launch of her fiancé on her Instagram story, one of those blurry hand-holding pics. Someone zoomed in and saw the tattoo. The same dumb tattoo Ryan got in college, a tiny slice of pizza on his wrist. "For the love of my life," he used to say. I thought he meant food. Apparently not. I scrolled Sam's page. No posts, but she had added a new highlight ring. Clicked it. There they were. For weeks of stories, one after the other. A video of her and Ryan at the lake. A clip of them kissing on a porch swing. A photo of her hand on his chest, the engagement engagement ring catching the light. Every time I tapped the screen, my chest burned hotter. And the kicker? One boomerang of them toasting champagne. Caption: nothing like marrying your best friend. At this point, I was in a daze. My college fund was gone. My sister was marrying my former best friend. My parents not only approved, they financed it. And none of them had the guts to tell me the truth. You might be wondering, how did I not know they were dating? Because Ryan and I hadn't really talked in the past few months. He started staying over at his girl's place more and more. I figured he just didn't want to talk about it, and I respected that. Funny, I always thought it was some random Tinder girl. Never occurred to me that it was my sister. The next night, I went out for a walk to clear my head and ran into Ryan's older brother, Josh, at a convenience store. We weren't close, but he recognized me. "You okay, man? You look like someone ran over your dog." I just blurted it. "Did you know Ryan was marrying Sam?" Josh looked away. That was all the answer I needed. "You knew," I said. "You knew," and didn't say anything. He sighed. "Dude, I thought you knew. I told him to tell you before the engagement, but he said your parents wanted to handle it." Handle it? Like I'm some PR disaster? Josh lowered his voice and added, "Look, man, I'm not trying to stir anything, but you should know Ryan didn't just start seeing Sam. This has been going on for a while. I haven't confronted anyone. Not yet, because before I do, I need to know everything. They're hiding more, I can feel it." I didn't sleep that night, not a minute. I sat in the dark scrolling through my sister's Instagram highlights over and over, trying to piece together a timeline, trying to figure out when exactly my former best friend, my roommate, became her fiancé. The answer? Right under my nose. Ryan had started going out more around 5 months ago. Said he met someone at a bar through mutuals, never gave a name. When I asked, he just smiled and said, "Don't jinx it." Classic Ryan, private when it suited him, vague when he was hiding something. And now it made sense. He was hiding her. That morning, I called out sick from work, told my manager I had food poisoning. Honestly, it wasn't a lie. My stomach was in knots and I could barely speak without wanting to scream. At 11 a.m., my doorbell rang. I opened it to find a delivery guy holding a small white box. "Package for," he checked the label, "Sam Peterson?" "Sam, my sister, at my apartment." My address. I signed for it, said nothing, closed the door, and stared at the box for a full 5 minutes. Then I opened it. It was a custom wooden ring box with S+R carved into the lid. Inside was a velvet pouch and a tiny folded note to wear on the big day. "I hope this becomes your something old someday. Love you forever, R." I nearly dropped it. I thought I had hit rock bottom, but the universe wasn't done. That afternoon, my parents invited me to a family dinner. Just the four of us. They said it was important and that they wanted to talk face to face. I knew it wasn't an apology, but I went anyway. Morbid curiosity? Maybe I just wanted to see how far they'd go to justify this. I got to their house at 6 p.m. sharp. The dining room was already set. Wine glasses, candles, chicken marsala. My mom always makes that when she's trying to soften a blow. They acted normal. Too normal. Like we hadn't just detonated our relationship days ago. Then, halfway through the meal, my dad cleared his throat. "We wanted to talk to you before the news goes public." I already knew, but I played dumb. "What news?" Mom smiled, actually smiled, and said, "Sam and Ryan are doing a feature in a wedding blog." I blinked. "Eh, what?" "It's called Love Unscripted," she gushed. "They're highlighting couples with unique journeys. Your sister wrote this beautiful story about how she reconnected with Ryan after all these years. It goes live next week." "Unique journey, huh?" So I said it. I just said it. Was I part of that journey? Since, you know, Ryan and I were best friends for a decade. Roommates. I lived with him while he was sneaking around with your daughter, using my address, my couch. The room went cold. Mom shifted. Dad stared at his plate. "You knew," I said quietly. "You all knew. And you didn't just hide it. You funded it with my future." That's when my mom finally cracked. "Don't be dramatic. You weren't going to use that money. We didn't take it. We redirected it for something joyful." Something in me snapped. "You redirected it to the woman who stole my best friend and to the guy who lied to me for months, and you're calling that joyful?" I stood up. Then Dad, who rarely says anything unless prompted, looked up and said something I'll never forget. "You were never meant to keep that money forever. It was there to give someone a better life. And right now, that someone is your sister." I walked out. I couldn't believe what I just heard. And as I got into my car, shaking with rage, I opened Instagram again and looked up Love Unscripted. There it was. The teaser post, a black and white photo of Sam and Ryan sitting on a dock, barefoot, champagne in hand. The caption, "Coming next week, a story of redemption, second chances, and an unexpected love that brought two families together." I nearly threw my phone. Two families? They were treating this like some Nicholas Sparks movie, and I was the villain in the trailer. I drove home, sat in silence. Then I remembered something Ryan said to me months ago when he was drunk on the couch. He'd broken up with someone. I'd asked who. He said someone I shouldn't have been with. Someone off limits. At the time, I assumed he meant an ex from work. Now I know who he meant. That night, I packed a bag and booked a cheap motel across town. I didn't want to be in that apartment anymore. Everything reminded me of him. Of them. I was lying on the scratchy motel bed, trying to sleep when my phone buzzed again. An email from a name I didn't recognize. Anonymous info. Subject line, "You should know the full story." No body text, just one attachment. A zip file titled Backup Chat History Sam Ryan. The file sat untouched on my phone screen for a good 10 minutes. I stared at it like it was going to explode. The subject line haunted me. "You should know the full story." It was 2:47 a.m. I hadn't slept in over 30 hours. My hands were shaking, but I downloaded it. The zip wasn't locked. No password. Inside, a folder full of screenshots, a full text export, images, voicemails, and a chat history file from WhatsApp. I opened the screenshot folder first, and that's when the floor dropped out from under me. The first screenshot was from Ryan's phone. A message from Sam, timestamped nearly 9 months ago. Sam, he's asleep. Want to sneak in now or wait till tomorrow? Then Ryan, tonight, I want to see your face when you walk past his room. His room. Mine. Another message from the next day. Sam, I can't believe we did that with him sleeping 2 doors away. Another. Ryan, it makes it hotter tbh. The risk. There were dozens of these. They hadn't just been sneaking around. They were laughing about it, reveling in it, using my apartment like it was a secret Airbnb for betrayal. They even had nicknames for me. Landlord, chaperone, blind bat. Then the messages turned serious. Sam, Mom asked again if he was seeing anyone. I told her he's focusing on work. That should buy us time. Ryan, we need her on our side. Once she sees how happy I make you, she'll fold. Sam, she already has. She said she wants you as a son more than she ever wanted him. I stopped breathing. I actually stopped. Then the chat export pages and pages of messages between them. The first ones were flirty, then dirty, then downright cruel. There was a conversation where they joked about how clueless I was. Another where they argued about how to convince my parents to use the fund. Ryan, he doesn't even know how to check the balance. If your mom asks, she'll make it happen. Sam, she already said it's just redistributing family resources. Her words. Ryan, if it works, we get the venue and the photographer and he's none the wiser. Then Sam, and if he finds out? Ryan, let him. What's he gonna do, sue his own parents? Then came the bombshell. A message dated 2 weeks before the proposal. Ryan, he's not gonna be happy about us getting engaged. Sam, screw him. Honestly, screw all of them. I'm sick of pretending he's this perfect victim. He always acted like he was better than me. Ryan, he took care of me when I had nothing. Sam, so? That was his choice. Ryan, I mean, do you think it'll look bad if people know I was his roommate? Sam, not if we get ahead of the story. Ryan, how? Sam, by rewriting it. That's what the blog is for. And that's when it hit me. The Love Unscripted feature wasn't just a brag, it was damage control. A PR stunt. A way to get in front of the backlash they knew was coming. And my parents were in on it. Every bit of it. I couldn't sit anymore. I got up, paced the motel floor, nearly hyperventilated. And then I remembered the ring box, the one I'd gotten delivered. I pulled it out again and really looked at it. There was a tiny engraving inside the lid I hadn't noticed before. It said, "Found in chaos, made for forever." I dropped it, physically dropped it, because the phrase "found in chaos" rang a bell. It was something Ryan used to say, back when I was the one helping him through his depression, when he'd crash on my couch after getting dumped, when he lost his job and I covered rent for 2 months. He used to say, "Thanks for sticking with me, man. Feels like you found me in chaos." He said it to me. Now he'd carved it into a ring box for my sister. I left the motel and drove straight to my apartment. I needed to get my things. I couldn't sleep there, couldn't breathe there. When I walked in, Ryan was in the kitchen, wearing my hoodie. He looked stunned. "Dude, I didn't think you were coming back tonight." I walked right past him, didn't say a word, started grabbing my stuff. He followed me. "Hey, listen, I know you're upset. I wanted to tell you. I just didn't know how." I turned around. "You didn't know how to say, 'Hey bro, I'm sleeping with your sister and using your college fund to pay for the wedding'?" He blinked. "Wait, how do you know about that?" Wrong answer. I pulled up the screenshots on my phone, held them up to his face. "You think you're clever? Sending messages like he's asleep 2 doors away? You didn't even bother deleting anything. You just thought I'd never look." His face drained of color. "Who sent you that?" I laughed. "Does it matter? Everyone always assumes I'm the quiet one, the easy one, the one who won't fight back. Well, guess what, this time I'm not rolling over." I zipped my duffel shut. He stepped forward. "Look, I didn't mean for it to happen like this." I stopped in the doorway. "Yeah, you did. You meant every word of it. Every message. Every laugh at my expense. And I hope to God you remember that on your wedding day." I slammed the door behind me. And that brings us here, right now. I'm sitting in a borrowed apartment, my bag on the floor, my laptop open, typing this out for a bunch of strangers because I don't know who else would believe me. I lost my best friend, my college fund, my relationship with my family, all in one blow. But what else was in that folder? A draft of the Love Unscripted article. And let's just say, the version they're planning to publish is not what really happened. I didn't open the blog draft right away. It was just a Word doc buried in the zip file, labeled LU_draft_V4_final. LU, of course, for Love Unscripted. Final. That was cute. I sat with my finger hovering over the trackpad, part of me dreading what I'd find, part of me already knowing. And when I opened it, it was worse than I ever imagined. It started like something out of a rom-com, all soft edges and pastel prose. We were 2 broken people floating through the world like debris from old lives. I had just ended a long-term relationship and Ryan, well, he was relearning how to trust. We weren't supposed to meet like this, but fate has a funny way of redirecting your path. Redirecting your path. They meant mine. He was staying with a friend at the time. Someone kind who had opened their home without expecting anything in return. We'll call him C. Out of respect. C. That's me. Just the ghost in their love story. We didn't mean to fall in love under that roof. We tried to resist it. But sometimes when 2 souls align, resistance only makes the flame burn brighter. I actually gagged reading that. This wasn't just a sanitized version of the truth. This was a rewrite, a propaganda piece, a mask to hide what they did and make me complicit in their fairy tale. And then it hit me. They were going to publish this and make me look like I supported them. They didn't name me, sure, but anyone who knew us, friends, coworkers, neighbors, would connect the dots. I'd be the oblivious roommate who gave them the space to fall in love. The silent background character, a laughingstock. That's when I made a decision. I was going to end this, not with violence, not with screaming, with facts, with fire. I compiled everything, screenshots, the chat chat export the blog draft into a drive. I didn't edit anything, just facts, dates, timestamps. Then I wrote an email. Subject line, before you publish, know the truth. I sent it to the Love Unscripted editorial contact listed on their site. Included the folder link and a short message. I know you've been sent a submission by Samantha Peterson and Ryan Carter. Before you make it public, I think you deserve to know the full story. What they've submitted is fiction. The truth is in this folder. Do what you will. See. Then I waited, and I didn't have to wait long. The next morning, I got an email back from a woman named Helena, the managing editor. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. After reviewing the materials, we've decided to withdraw Samantha and Ryan's story from our editorial calendar. This is not the kind of narrative we want to platform. We're sorry for what you went through. If you need anything, our inbox is open. That's all. That was enough. Their fairy tale wasn't going to be broadcast to thousands of readers. There would be no soft lighting, no poetic captions, no sympathy from strangers. Just silence. A gaping hole where their rewritten legacy was supposed to live. That afternoon, my mom called me. I didn't answer. Then Sam texted, "What the hell did you do?" Followed by, "You ruined everything. Are you proud of yourself?" I stared at that one for a while. Ruined everything? No, Sam. You ruined everything. I just pulled the curtain back. Then Ryan messaged me for the first time since I walked out. "We just wanted peace. You could have let us have that." I replied once. "You stole mine. Call it even." Blocked him after that. But it wasn't over, because apparently, when the blog dropped its teaser post off their schedule, people noticed, especially since the original caption was still cached in Google Preview. And someone, maybe Helena, maybe a pissed-off intern, leaked the real story. Someone posted the drive anonymously on Reddit. It went viral. People ate it up. Within 2 days, the wedding blog was trending for all the wrong reasons. Someone even made a TikTok series narrating the chat log. And the comments? Brutal. Imagine stealing your brother's future and turning it into a hashtag. This isn't a love story. It's a masterclass in entitlement. If my fiancé ever laughed about my sibling like that, the wedding would be off. Even my co-workers started whispering. A few friends texted, "Wait, is this your family?" I didn't deny it. I didn't need to, because for the first time in this entire mess, I wasn't the one hiding. Then came the final blow. My aunt, my mom's sister, called me. We hadn't spoken in years. She said, "I saw what happened online. Just wanted to say I believe you, and I'm so sorry for everything your parents did." I almost broke down. I asked how she found out. She said, "Because your mom called me crying, said the internet was turning against them and that you twisted everything." I asked what she said in response. She told my mom, "No, he just gave them what they asked for, the truth." 2 days after the leak, I got an email from my dad. Short, cold. "We need to talk. Meet us at the house tonight, 7 p.m. I didn't reply. I didn't want to see them, but something in me, curiosity maybe, dragged me back. When I pulled up to the house, the porch lights were off, curtains drawn. Felt like walking into a crime scene where the bodies hadn't been moved yet. I knocked. Mom opened the door. She looked different, pale, like she hadn't slept. Dad was sitting stiffly in his usual chair, arms crossed. Sam was pacing the living room barefoot in one of those stupid silk robes she always wore when she wanted to look ethereal. Her eyes were red, makeup half smeared, like she tried to clean up and gave up halfway. Ryan wasn't there, probably hiding. I walked in, didn't sit. No one said anything at first. Then Mom finally broke the silence. "We're being harassed." She said it like it was my fault. "People are commenting on every photo Sam posts. The venue called and said they don't want the publicity. Our neighbors are asking questions." Sam snapped, "Do you realize what you've done to my life?" I didn't even blink. "It's your life," I said calmly. "I just gave people the unfiltered version." Dad stood up. "That money was for family, not this internet circus you've created." I turned to him. "Then maybe you shouldn't have used it to fund a circus act." He took a step forward like he was going to say something, then stopped. Sam marched over to me, holding her phone. "You know what people are calling me now," she hissed. "Trash, homewrecker, narcissist. You humiliated me. You turned everyone against me." I looked her dead in the eye. "You did that to yourself." She stared at me for a long moment. Then, softly, too softly, she said, "I'm pregnant." Everything in the room froze. Even Dad sat back down like his knees gave out. I blinked. "What?" She nodded, expression unreadable. 7 weeks. It's Ryan's." My stomach turned. I felt like I was standing outside my own body. Then Mom added, "That's why we did it. That's why we helped. We didn't want her to go through this alone." I laughed out loud. "You're telling me you knew she was pregnant before the proposal? And you still let them keep me in the dark? Still let them use my money for the wedding?" Mom nodded slowly. "It was complicated. We didn't want to tell you until it was official. We were afraid of how you'd react." I took a step back, absorbing it all. "You didn't trust me to know, but you trusted the guy who slept with your daughter behind your son's back." Silence. I was shaking, not angry, beyond angry. There was no word for what I felt, so I said the last thing I ever expected to say in that house. "Then let him pay for it." Mom blinked. "What?" I reached into my bag and pulled out a yellow envelope, laid it on the table. Inside, copies of withdrawal logs, screenshots, my notarized statement of the original trust account balance. I've already filed to dispute the trust withdrawal. Legally, you weren't allowed to touch it without my written consent. That money was in my name per the terms my grandparents laid out. Mom went pale. Dad stood up again. "Don't do this, son." I looked looked him in the eye. You did this. Sam snatched the envelope and started flipping through the pages like she could erase them. You're seriously trying to ruin your niece or nephew's future over this? I laughed again, no humor in it. No, Sam, you already did that. I'm just making sure I still have mine. That night, I got texts from people I hadn't heard from in years. My cousin, my old professor, even a neighbor who used to babysit me. They all saw the story. Some asked if it was true. Some just said they were proud of me. But the most surprising message came the next morning from Ryan. I'm sorry, I messed everything up. I didn't think it would go this far. She's not who I thought she was. I don't know what to do. I didn't respond. I didn't need to, because that's the thing about bridges. Once you burn them, the smoke doesn't just go away. It lingers. It follows you. It reminds everyone watching exactly what you did. So where am I now? Back in my own space. A real apartment this time. No roommates, no ghosts. Working full-time, saving again. The dispute's still in process, but early signs are promising. I've got legal backing and full documentation. I may not get all the money back, but I've got my name, my truth, and they have a wedding to plan that no one wants to attend. Last week, I got an email from Love Unscripted again. The same editor. Helena, we're launching a new column. Stories that should have been told. Sometimes the quiet one is the one who writes the last word.